Hello guys, it's Girl Got Game, and welcome to another Gander episode. Today I am checking out my grandma's last adventure. So this visual novel was created for the Sunofest 2022 by Transparent Games, and it came to my attention thanks to Twitter, and the story was intriguing. The story is, Ulric von Whitelake is the third son of a noble family, but he leads a life of adventure far from court. Joined by the healer Lou and the shieldmaiden Celine, the trio forms the party known as the Happy Tree. When wintertime proves too cold for traveling, the group decides to come to Whitelake and freeload at the mansion of Ulric's grandma. However, they soon find out that Grandma Levina has been poisoned. Now she wants to go on one last adventure with the party. Will the Happy Tree agree to her request? So yeah, there you go. There's the premise to our adventure that we're about to undertake. The art looks incredible, and it says that it's a sad adventure, and I'm kind of in the mood for something a little sad. So, also I just noticed a giant-ass dragon behind here, so that looks exciting. So yeah, you have been warned. Sadness is in store. Bring your tissues. Let's jump in. Content warning, terminal illness. For my Aunt Margaret, who was my mother for 22 years... May she rest in peace, and fuck cancer. Lavinia. Indeed. I'm so sorry for your loss, Lavinia. This is so awesome that you made this to honor your aunt, though.
A white sheet of snow covers the forest. It's glistening in the sunlight so wonderfully. It brightens my dark soul. It's so beautiful that...
Oh, I was not expecting even this to be voice acted. Well, that's a nice surprise.
You're making a disgusting face.
My adventuring party's shieldmaiden Celine looks as put off as if she stepped on something rotten. Well, excuse me. I was having a moment of enlightenment here.
You don't even know what enlightenment is.
Man, I love the design of these characters. They're so good.
Liu, a group healer, is a priest by trade. I bet he thinks the feeling of communion with the gods is reserved for the Holy Order alone. Watch how you're speaking to the leader.
That's just like you. Pulling the leader card when you have no better argument.
It works.
Hey! And I'm Ulric, the party's leader. And the dual-wielding sword fighter.
Ooh.
I'm cool and smart. I'm just underappreciated.
As all great heroes are.
Together we form the Happy Three, an adventuring party that kills monsters and cleans dungeons together. Our goal is to get rich and... not die in the process.
A good goal. Also, I guess... No, I didn't misread that. So there is a bit of a typo on the itch.io page, unfortunately. It's not the Happy Tree, it's the Happy Three, which actually fits. I was wondering, why the Happy Tree, though? Happy Three makes much more sense. Okay, moving on.
Well, their goal is getting rich. I'm noble by birth, so I have a bit of an allowance. Or rather, I had it at the beginning of the month.
It's funny how allowance just runs out so quick.
We only argue like that because we like each other. We're best of friends. Right now, we're on our way to visit my hometown, where we plan to freeload at my grandmother's manor for a month, on a sort of vacation.
Poor grandma.
The snow is beautiful, but it makes adventuring harder, since the roads to the dungeons aren't exactly cleaned up for easy passage.
By the way, aren't you excited about coming home again after a year?
I am. I'm gonna see my grandmother Levina again. I'm less excited about seeing my brothers, but seeing Grandma again will make it all good.
Aw.
I'm the third son of the noble family of von Whitelakes, but with no title or land to inherit, I turn to adventuring. I get a bit of money from home, and one day, I'll get a house in the capital after Grandma passes away.
Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. Just don't turn into a Hans, whatever you do.
But that won't be for a while. Last I saw her, she was plenty healthy. My grandmother raised me, the youngest von Whitelake, when my parents passed away in a carriage accident. My brothers are much older than me, so they got to have a longer relationship with our parents. But I had Grandma, so I'm not sad about that. She's the most amazing person in the world.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Wasn't your grandma an adventurer back in the day like we are?
Yes, the greatest adventurer in the land. Levina the Dragon Slayer.
What an awesome name.
Did she really slay a dragon?
The black tooth that terrorized the country 20 years ago. After that, she got a noble title and the land of Whitelake from the king.
Amazing. I wonder if we can ever become such famous adventurers.
It's nice to hear that a famous adventurer, got to enjoy their reward and had a big family and lived a long life. That is great to hear.
If we try hard enough, I'm sure we will.
Instead of dying horribly in the middle of an adventure.
We continue to chat happily as we approach the town of Whitelake.
Ah. The manor is huge. My friends enter it open-mouthed, but I feel right at home. We take off our cloaks in the hallway. The butler directs us to the drawing room. The room shows off how rich the von Whitelake's family is. Paintings showing off Grandma's deeds decorate the walls. In the middle of the room sits Grandmother, the heir to the von Whitelake's fortune, and my oldest brother, Dominic, is pouring her tea from her favorite teapot painted in red roses.
Look who the cat coughed up.
Gross.
I'm happy to see you too, Dominic.
So happy. Dominic finishes pouring the tea and looks from me to my companions, not hiding the disgust he feels. Even though he comes from an adventuring family, he feels this kind of work is beneath him and detests everyone who practices it. Grandma included. Well, that's rude. Why is he waiting on her then? That's not his job. I glance at the maid standing patiently by the wall, but she avoids my gaze.
Sit down, you bunch. Ugh, looking at you standing there makes my knees hurt.
Of course, Grandmother.
I take a seat right next to Grandma, while my companions sit down opposite us. Dominic takes a seat in an armchair. Leo eyes my brother suspiciously, but when I catch his gaze, he shakes his head.
Now, whom do we have here?
Allow me to introduce my friends. Celine, a shield maiden, and Liu, a priest and our party's healer.
But what happened to your mage?
We looked at each other and remembered the mage who traveled with us until he borrowed one too many things.
Ah, rogue mage.
That vacancy is currently open.
I see. Well, mages are quite temperamental. I know that, being one myself.
Really?
You are a mage, my lady?
I'm in love.
My lady? Oh, what wonderful manners. Yes, I'm a fire mage. I like to see things burn back in my day.
Dang, Grandma's awesome. Also, she's still killing it with that fire look she's got going on. Grandmother trails off, looking in the distance. She sips her tea, and then she starts coughing and blood splatters from her mouth onto her hand.
What in the world? Grandma, are you sick?
It's just a small cough.
It doesn't seem that way.
I look between Grandmother and my healer friend. He nods at me, then looks back at Dominic, who returns the gaze with malice.
Why don't you pour us guests some tea, kind sir?
Kind sir.
You dare to command a noble?
Dominic, stop that and pour our guests tea. You were doing a fine job at it before.
Instead of the disgusted expression I expect to see on my brother's face, he instead looks worried? Why? Liu watches Dominic closely. I think he knows something I don't.
But this is your specialty, Grandmother. I will ask the maid to bring the normal tea for the rest of them.
So polite.
This tea is fine. Shut your mouth and pour it.
Dominic hesitates, then pours the tea into the teacup set in front of us. Liu takes his cup and sniffs it. Then he draws a magical incantation in the air above the cup. I look at Celine and notice she's on high alert too.
What in the world are you doing to the tea?
Checking for poison.
Liu's tea continues to glow, and Dominic's face goes white. Before Liu continues, I realize what's happening and gesture at Celine to block the doorway.
And it seems the test is... positive.
Ah. Well, well, well. As Liu finishes the sentence, the only way out of the room is blocked by Celine. She stands with her arms crossed like an imposing statue. Confrontation music. Dominic's eyes widen and he runs for the exit, but Celine catches him by the arms and holds him in her iron grip.
Let me go!
I'm perfectly calm as I approach my brother.
Did you poison our grandmother?
It's not unheard of to resort to poison in noble families. But still, I feel betrayed. I don't know a better person than Grandmother Levina. Would she have met her end had we not come here for vacation? I hear my grandmother coughing behind me, and I turn to see Liu standing beside her, trying to ease her pain with magic. He looks worried. I haven't seen him like this since Celine broke her leg a few months back. Back then, he didn't know if he could heal her well enough for her to walk again without a limp. Luckily, he succeeded. But that expression means that this is very serious, and that makes me furious.
Why? Did you want to inherit the title and land earlier? Couldn't wait any longer, could you?
I expect remorse from Dominic, but I'm surprised to see the opposite.
The old hag deserves to die! She's way past her expiration date!
Damn.
What the fuck did you say?
I grab at Dominic's throat, suffocating him so he doesn't utter any more of those disgusting words.
Ulric!
Ooh. Now is the time to decide what fate he deserves. I always think killing somebody is... all it does is it ends up haunting you. And the person doesn't, like... they don't learn anything from it because they're dead now. I mean, sometimes there are certain situations where I'm like, oh yeah, they need to die right now. When they do it, like, over and over and over again, it's like, alright, that's it! You've had your chances! But handing him over to the authorities would be the noble thing to do. Plus, he has to rot in jail for at least a while. I'm sure that'll bother him for a while. He should die for what he did to Grandmother, but I won't be the one to carry the burden of his murder. He's not worth it. Good on you, Ulric. That's right. If the authorities decide that he should be executed, then they can do it.
Celine, let's go to the town council with him.
After I give my statement to the authorities, I disappear from everyone's sight. I need to be alone with my thoughts of the betrayal and Grandma's sickness. I feel so empty inside. Now that the fury disappeared, all I feel is the cold. I wander the forest until nightfall. Alone with my thoughts, I don't feel any better. Should I have handed Dominic over to the authorities? What if they don't judge him properly? No, I'm sure he'll be found guilty after what he did to Grandma. But I can't help but wonder, wouldn't it have been easier if I killed him on the spot? No, what am I thinking? That would have been murder. Killing is a part of being an adventurer, but murder? That's another story entirely. I kick a tree stump, angry at myself for being so confused. Instant regret. Ow, that hurt.
That wasn't your brightest moment.
Shut up. I turn around to see Celine with Liu close behind her.
Celine! And Liu too.
We came to check up on you, so you don't do something even more stupid.
Liu gestures to my foot.
You don't have to be alone with the burden you now carry, Ulric. We're here for you.
We're friends, are we not?
All the confusion and pain I feel overwhelms me, and I fall into Celine's embrace, sobbing loudly. Liu joins us awkwardly, and we all hug. Aw, so cute. I cry and cry and cry. I don't know how long it takes me to calm down. Minutes pass, and I cry. For my grandma's illness, for Dominic's betrayal, and for myself for being so powerless against it. I mean, there's no way you could have realized what was going on sooner. I'm gonna do the top one, I think.
This is so stupid. Why can't I do anything for Grandmother?
It's not your fault.
Oh, interesting. I guess these are like all the emotions he's feeling, so you gotta go through all of them.
If only I realized what was going on sooner.
You can't change the past, Ulric. Now we can only think of how to move forward.
But it's so unfair.
This is so unfair!
It is unfair.
Yes, it is.
Finally, I'm out of tears. My friends escort me back to the manor. Such good friends. When we enter the Von Whitelake's manor and turn to go upstairs to rest, we pass by the drawing room.
Hey!
My grandmother calls out to us, trying to get our attention. We enter the room and sit opposite her on the sofa.
Yes, Grandma.
I have something to say. What happened with Dominic? It's shit.
Well, doesn't mince words. I smile at her crude words, but I'm not surprised. Grandma has always said what's on her mind.
It's a disaster.
Yes, but don't mope around. Gods know how much time I have left. So, rather than being sad and doing nothing, let's go on an adventure.
What?
An adventure?
But, in your state, my lady?
I'm not some fragile flower. I won't wither so easily.
Ooh, is that flames? Oh, she still got it.
I'm an adventurer born and raised. So, before I die, take me on one last adventure. I want to see how it is again, killing monsters and finding treasure.
I don't think that's a good...
Okay.
Ulric?
I mean, if that's her last request.
If that's Grandma's wish, we'll do it. A grand adventure, suitable for my grandmother.
It better be a good one.
Or I'll come back and haunt your ass.
Now, I will leave you to the planning. I always hate to plan. These old bones just want to have the fun. And none of the responsibility.
Understood, Grandma.
With that, grandmother leaves the room and we look at each other. Or rather, Celine and Liu look at me disapprovingly.
Before you say what you think, hear me out.
Okay.
Remember back in Ashwood by the lake? That old bard in the tavern. He told us so many interesting stories.
Yeah, and many of those rumors came true.
Yes. One story he told was about the white dragon Percival, who was supposed to have amazing healing powers.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Oh.
What if we took grandmother on an adventure to find the dragon? So if we do, he can heal her.
But you know that's just a rumor, Ulric. What if the dragon doesn't exist?
Then grandmother will have her last grand adventure, and her dying wish will be granted. I'll be sad, but I'll also feel I've done everything within my power to respect her wish.
I understand.
We will of course support you on this quest.
The best friends.
I still think the dragon isn't real, but I can't wait to be proven wrong. You're right. We can't just sit around and do nothing.
And it's true that there are no better leads. What grandmother needs is a miracle. And only a dragon can grant it.
Thank you, friends. Let's plan the adventure then.
We spend the rest of the evening, long into the night, figuring out the steps we need to take to find the dragon.
One thing's for sure. Don't tell grandmother the goal is to find a cure for her.
She'll be so upset.
Why?
She's stubborn. She wants to go on an adventure to forget her illness. And if she knows it's always on our minds, she'll be angry.
Okay.
I won't tell her. I promise.
It'll just slip out by accident one of these days. We retire to our rooms with the thought of leaving in the morning. Adventurers at work! Early in the morning, we wake grandmother and tell her we're ready to go.
Where to?
Through the Dietrich Woods to the White Mountain.
What will we face?
Mostly goblins and wildlife.
And what's the goal?
Finding the staff of ever-burning fire.
Oh, is that an artifact that amplifies fire powers? I want it.
Yes, indeed it is. It'll be nice to have in your collection.
For sure.
The four of us pack our camping gear and enough supplies for a 2-week journey. We make our way through the forest, deeper into the woods, seeking adventure. My grandmother coughs again and again, but she remains vigilant throughout the journey. She's a stubborn one, not wanting to reveal any weakness beyond what is visible on the surface.
Milady, can I cast a strengthening spell on you?
I see grandmother open her mouth to protest, but she stops herself. She must really be feeling bad because she accepts Liu's help. Liu focuses on his staff and points it at Grandma. Light gathers at the end of it and then releases to meet Grandmother's body. After the glow disappears, she stops coughing.
This is only temporary. I will have to recast it every hour.
You should have said so sooner. What if we need your strength for healing?
I will pace myself to be able to do both.
Oh, there's nothing I hate more than a cocky healer. If we die because of you, I will haunt you.
I knew she would be the type to say that. Oh no. Liu looks genuinely scared by that prospect. I chuckle. We continue walking, the snow crunching under our feet.
So, how did you three get together as an adventuring party?
I approached Celine and asked her to join me. And Liu was part of the package.
Hey!
Wait.
But that's true.
We met in the capital at a tavern. I was going on a goblin killing quest and needed some able-bodied people. These two were sitting together, although Celine looked like she didn't want to be there.
We went on one quest together, then another, and suddenly we become an adventuring party.
Interesting that the way those groups form is always the same. The ones that stick together just form naturally.
Was it the same for your party, Grandmother?
Yes, it was.
I wait for Grandma to tell me more, but she doesn't continue, lost in thought. We proceed in silence. After a few hours of walking, we encounter our first group of goblins. The greenskins attack us on sight, trying to stop us with their puny spears. From the back, goblin archers fire arrows. I slash at the goblin in front of me, killing it. Next to me, Celine defends us with her shield. Chanting can be heard behind us. Grandmother is casting a spell. Then a fireball is thrown at the archers and they die in the inferno. After that successful attack, it's easy to finish off the remainder of the goblins. Liu heals the scratch on my leg. Other than that one, there are no injuries.
Great job, team!
Indeed, with the addition of a mage, we are stronger than ever. But then Grandmother starts coughing, more than before. Liu throws a strengthening spell on her, but it does little to help. Eventually, it's evening and time for camp. We set up everything, then sit around the fire. Grandmother dozes off quickly, and we put her into the bedroll in one of the tents to make her as comfortable as possible. It's no noble's bed, but she spent the most of her life on the road. We sit around the fire, looking at each other grimly. Finally, Liu carefully gives voice to what has been on everyone's minds.
We might be making her death quicker with this.
The dragon.
May not exist.
Are you saying we should turn back?
Shh. It's up to you. You're the leader. I'm only giving advice as the party healer.
That's right. I shouldn't be angry at Liu. Instead, I should think carefully as to what to do. Ooh. I don't know. I think Grandma would be so upset, though, if we were like, we should turn back because you're dying faster. Let's continue.
No. This is what Grandmother wants. This is what I want. We can't turn back.
But Ulric...
You don't understand, Liu. I want to make Grandmother happy in her last days. And I don't want to pass up the only chance we have at healing her just because I'm scared. You're right that she's dying. And that we aren't making her death any slower. But isn't inaction in itself death too? At least we are doing something rather than sitting and waiting for her to die.
Ulric's right.
Okay, I get it now. Let's proceed then.
I concur. Our conversation finishes and we go to sleep. The next days and nights pass by similarly, with Grandmother growing weaker with each day. One day, we stop to rest in a clearing near a hot spring. After checking on Grandma, Liu announces he's going to gather
There
herbs.
should be some rare winter plants near this hot spring. What I don't use for potions, we should be able to sell for a good price.
Good thinking. Be careful, though.
Liu seems to want to say something further, but instead he shakes his head and wanders away from camp.
How long are you going to keep stringing him along like that?
Yeah, Levina, get her!
What are you talking about?
Forget it, Grandma. Neither one of them will admit it. Believe me, I've tried.
Come on! Bully them!
Admit what? There's nothing to admit.
Oh my, it's worse than I thought.
Celine's face glows bright red. She stands and, unsure of what exactly to do, fidgets.
I'm, going to try and find some edible roots.
You could go with Liu. She stalks off in the opposite direction Liu went. Grandma watches her, then turns to me.
How long has this been going on?
I think Liu adored Celine before I met them. It always seemed to annoy her, but less so lately.
Adventuring is hard on relationships. Believe me, I know.
Did you meet Grandpa while you were an adventurer?
Hold on a second. My grandfather had already passed before I was born, so I never knew him. Grandma doesn't talk about him much, but now might be my last chance to ask about him.
No, your grandfather and I didn't meet until after I retired. But there was someone in my party. I wonder whatever happened to her.
Ooh.
Why didn't she retire with you?
Marine was a treasure hunter. She didn't want to be rewarded by kings. She wanted to find her riches herself. That was the real reason we were after the Blacktooth, you know. Marine wanted its treasure hoard. But, as you know, there wasn't one, and...
Grandma is interrupted by a shriek from the woods.
It sounded like Liu!
I stand to rush to Liu's aid, but then I remember Grandma. I turn back, but she waves me on.
Go! I'll catch up.
I hesitate to leave her, but I also don't know what kind of trouble Liu's gotten into. Alright, Grandma. I'm gonna trust you. I tell Grandma to be careful, then I take off toward the sound of Liu shrieking. The foliage is thick thanks to the hot springs. I hack my way through the underbrush, worried about both Liu and Grandma. Finally, I find him. Liu is tangled up in the vines of a carnivorous plant. It dangles him high above the ground while he attempts futile slashes with his dagger.
Help!
I draw my swords as Celine appears next to me, panting.
Where's grandmother?
She told me to go on ahead. Come on, let's fight this thing.
Lou, if anything happens to grandmother because of you, I'll...
Oh, Celine.
Ah!
Celine shakes her head, then charges forward, bellowing a fearsome war cry. The plant has too many vines, and they're too fast. It seems like for every one we cut off, 3 more attack.
Hurry up!
We're doing the best we can.
Well, hopefully Grandma gets here and burns this plant. Celine and I make another charge, but we're pushed back. The plant's central bulb opens to reveal a gaping maw lined with thousands of needle-like teeth. There she is. Grandma steps out of the undergrowth and takes a position between Celine and me.
Oh, good. I didn't miss anything.
Grandma, can you burn the vines that are holding Liu?
No. If she burns the vines, Lou will fall into its mouth.
That's the idea. Leo, get ready to cast an elemental shield.
Leo struggles against the vines, but his arms are held tight.
I don't think I can.
Lou, don't you dare give up now.
There's no time for a pep talk. Leo, a fireball is coming at you whether you're ready or not.
Grandma starts her chant. Leo manages to pull one arm free, but it causes him to drop a foot or so toward the plant's mouth. Celine and I fend off the vines and protect Grandma while she prepares her fire spell.
Here it comes!
Wait, he's not ready.
With a burst of strength, Leo plunges his dagger into the vine holding his other arm, but the plant releases him completely and he falls. The fireball leaves Grandma's hand and Leo chants desperately. A shimmer forms around him just before Grandma's attack hits him. Leo, engulfed in flames, drops into the creature's open mouth.
No!
If only we had been quicker.
Oh, pipe down, you two. Watch.
The vines begin to writhe wildly as the plant's central mass turns brown, then black, and then starts to smoke. The mouth explodes into flames. A smoking Leo is thrown outward, flying directly towards Celine. He crashes into her and they fall to the ground.
Hey, get off me!
Rude.
Stop complaining! You're not the one who just got set on fire and swallowed!
Poor Leo. Chuckling, I help them to their feet. Leo is a little bruised and has a few minor burns, but he is otherwise fine.
What were you thinking? Getting so close to that thing. No herbs could have been worth that.
I saw, well, that is, I found, and I wanted.
Oh.
As I recall, those vine monsters tend to hide around forest lilies.
Forest lilies? But those are only good for aphrodisiacs, right?
Oh no. Grandma smiles and winks at Liu, who produces a handful of white petals streaked with purple from his satchel.
You didn't.
I thought I remembered you saying once they were your favorite flower.
Celine eyes him for a moment, then punches Liu in the face. He drops to the ground, the petals scattering around him. This poor boy.
Don't you ever almost get yourself killed over a bunch of stupid flowers again, idiot!
She turns and skulks off toward camp, muttering. I help Liu up. Again.
What's her problem? I was just trying to do something nice.
She almost lost you.
Her problem is that she loves you. But she has a point. You really should be more careful.
We slowly pick our way back toward the clearing. Both Liu and Grandma are exhausted, but in high spirits. I'm glad Liu's in high spirits after all that. After a few days of traveling, we finally reach the White Mountain. This is the shorter part of our journey, but a more tiring one. On the harder to climb stretches of the path, Celine takes Grandma on her back and carries her. Dang, girl's strong.
Put me down!
Don't worry, grandmother. You're as light as a feather.
Freezing wind blasts us, and at times we trudge through snow more than a foot deep.
Whose idea was it to climb a mountain in winter?
It wouldn't be an adventure if it was easy.
True, but why does it have to be so cold?
I'll take this over mud and mosquitoes any day.
We press on, alternately griping about the weather and retelling tales of adventures into putrid swamps and flooded mines. At last we come to a pass between two towering cliffs. The path disappears into a massive snowdrift.
It's completely blocked.
Should we try to climb over?
No, if the snow's unstable, we could fall through and be trapped inside. Or worse, cause an avalanche and get swept right off the mountain.
I could melt it.
It's too big, Grandma. It would take too long and too much of your strength.
Is there a way around?
We'd have to backtrack a long way. We'd probably lose 2 days.
I said I could melt it.
Milady, it would take hours of sustained fire to melt all this snow.
Who said we had to melt all of it?
What are you thinking, Grandma?
If we melt the top layer, the water will pack down the snow underneath.
Making it safe to climb over.
That's brilliant, Grandma!
Brilliant!
I don't know. It still seems risky. And that will take a lot of fireballs.
We'll have to get some fuel up there somehow. Do you have a bow?
No, we're all terrible shots anyway.
We discuss other ideas, but we can't come up with a viable way to get any fuel up on top of the snowdrift. Liu, Celine, and I confirm what we should do next.
There's no way to tell if the other passes are clear either.
The other paths are narrower and more dangerous. I don't know if Grandma can handle them. We might have no choice but to turn back.
That would be a shame. But it might be for the best.
I turn to check on Grandma, but she's not there. I scan the area, panic building in my chest. Then I see her. She's halfway up the snowbank.
What's she doing?
She must have gotten tired of waiting on us. What are we going to do?
Well, I guess I'm going after her.
Grandma, wait!
I start my ascent, following Grandma's tracks, but I keep slipping and the snow doesn't support my weight. Each time I fall, I notice more and more of the snow drift sinks with me.
Stop that! If you loosen too much snow, you'll cause an...
Oh no. I feel the rumble before I hear it. I look up to see great rolling waves of snow tumbling down both sides of the pass.
Avalanche!
Celine grabs Liu and pulls him to the high side of the trail while I call out to Grandma.
Grandma! Slide down and I'll catch you!
Grandma turns but loses her footing and tumbles down the snowdrift. I hurry and position myself to catch her.
Oh!
She crashes into me and I fall onto the rocky trail, absorbing both impacts. I scramble to my feet and lift Grandma onto my back, then I run towards Celine and Liu. The rumbling gets louder and a cloud of blowing snow engulfs the entire trail.
I can't see anything.
We'll have to brace ourselves.
We back up against the hill as far as we can, but the snow crashes around us. We'll be buried soon if we don't do something.
Celine, use your shield!
I really don't think that will help against the mountain of snow.
Just do it.
Grandma nods and begins to chant. A small flame appears in her hands and she holds it against the back of the shield. It takes a lot out of her, though, and I see her waver.
Liu, help Grandma!
Liu chants the strengthening spell to bolster Grandma, who continues heating the shield. The wall of snow crashes into the shield and all four of us shrink together under its power, but we hold firm until the rumbling finally stops. Grandma collapses and Liu catches her. Celine and I pull the shield free from the solid wall of snow that rises before us. We rest for a while before climbing out. The avalanche has flattened the snowdrift, and we waste no time getting through and away from the pass.
I had things under control until you interfered.
Sorry, Grandma.
Sorry, Grandma. I was worried about you.
I can take care of myself.
Liu, Celine, and I share an embarrassed but concerned look.
Oh well. It still went better than the last avalanche I was in.
Last avalanche?
How many avalanches have you survived?
Counting this one, that's 4. Wait, 5? I guess I lost track.
She was a tough bird. We camp in a cave during the night, and Grandma retires for the evening. As usual, we sit around the fire, our expressions grim. During the day, we laugh and keep the atmosphere light. But during the night, our real feelings come out.
She really weighs next to nothing.
And her cough has gotten worse.
Yes, it's been 5 days since we left the mansion. There's not much time left. What if the dragon isn't where we think it is? What if it doesn't want to help?
Don't give up hope yet.
Yes, we still have a few days.
I mean, thankfully it's a very slow-acting poison.
So little time. At least we get to spend it together doing what we all love. That itself is a blessing.
That's looking on the bright side of life. At the end of the mountain path, we find a large cave where we hope the dragon Percival resides. Grandmother sways on her feet and leans on Celine to be able to walk. She continues to cough blood despite Liu's strengthening spell.
Grandma!
I'm fine. Keep going.
Ooh. A few steps later, we enter the cave. The ceiling is high above our heads, and in the middle of the dome-like space lies the white dragon Percival. He's sleeping peacefully, his tail coiled over his nose. Around the dragon are his riches, but they're not what you'd normally expect for a dragon. The white dragon Percival is an art collector, so paintings, sculptures, and other kinds of art stand around him. Some even say he shifts into human form to create artwork himself. Grandmother's annoyed huff takes our attention away from admiring the dragon's hoard.
I knew it. There never was a staff of ever-burning fire. Was there?
We look at each other, feeling guilty for lying to Grandma about the goal of the quest.
I knew from the start, but I wanted to see what it was that you younglings had planned for me.
Younglings. The sentence ends with another attack. Grandma coughs, unable to stop spitting blood. Liu casts another spell, but it doesn't work.
If it isn't the great Levina the Dragon Slayer. Welcome to my home.
All the coughing has woken up the dragon. He now has his head raised and is looking at us. I can't tell what he's thinking, as I'm not familiar with draconic facial expressions.
Did you and yours come to slay me?
Gods, no. We're here to ask you for your help. Ulric's grandmother needs healing. She's dying.
Does the great Levina want my help, though?
Heck no.
Heck no. We gasp, staring at Grandma in utter shock.
Figured as much.
But Grandma! We came all the way here! Why don't you want to be healed?
Is it the dragon that you dislike? He seems to know you.
No, Percival is a good lad. We've known each other for a while.
I painted the artwork that now adorns the walls of the Van Whitelake's mansion.
Damn. That's pretty awesome. You actually have a piece of artwork that a dragon painted for you? That's so cool. I would be amazed if I weren't feeling so dreadful and hopeless right now.
You never took my opinion into account, did you, Ulric? That I may think I'm done with life? That I perhaps believe I've lived enough? That I would like to finally be at peace?
But you'll feel better when he heals you. You'll be as good as new. The White Dragon is a great healer. Are you not?
I look at the dragon expectantly. He gets up and moves his large body closer to us.
Let me at least check you over, Levina.
If you must.
An aura of magic surrounds Grandma's body, making her glow with peaceful white light. I worry that the examination will be painful, but it doesn't seem to be.
A year.
Figured.
What about a year?
Levina's body is beyond healing. If I were to try to repair it, I'd only buy her a year of life.
But aren't you the greatest healer in the land?
I'm no miracle maker. I can't revive what's already dead. Levina's body is in a critical condition. I can offer her a painless death. Right here, right now. A mercy for a friend. Or I can try to repair the damage and buy her a year of life.
Then of course, healer! What do you want in exchange? I will do anything!
You will not. You will respect my wish.
I will not! Not if your wish is to...
To die.
What can I do to convince Grandma to continue living? How does she expect me to just accept such a wish?
Why do you want to die?
I'm tired and way past my prime. Even before Dominic poisoned me, I'd been ill. I asked you to take me on one last adventure, so I may have died how I lived my life. On the battlefield in glory, gaining fame and riches. All I want is to be remembered as an adventurer. Someone who'd been free to go wherever they wished, to protect people, to end each day at a tavern counting coins well earned.
Does that mean the past 10 years you've lived as a noble, you've been unhappy?
Yes, that was the case. But you and your party disrespected my wish. This adventure's ending is not to my liking. There was no fame and glory at its end, only sadness. So, please, respect my other plea. Let me die.
I realize that I'm crying. I fucked up so badly, and now I can't turn back time. I didn't do for my grandmother the only thing she asked of me, what she really wanted. Celine takes my hand in hers, and Liu puts his arm around me. I weep. But is it for my grandma that I'm crying, or for myself? I mean, I get her. I can understand. And I mean, one more year of just prolonging a life she wasn't enjoying anyway. I mean, unless she was going to spend the next year adventuring again. I'm gonna save here. I might see what both of these options do. If it was me, I would respect her wish. So we'll do that. I might come back and check this out.
As hard as it is, I need to respect Grandma's last wish. It's her life we're talking about, and it's hers to decide what to do with it. Alright, Grandma. If you wish to die, I won't stop you. I'm sorry your last adventure wasn't to your liking.
Oh, it wasn't that bad. I've seen worse.
I embrace Grandma tightly. She hugs me back, and Celine and Liu join us. We remain like that for a minute, until Grandma has another coughing fit. It's painful for her. I should let her go. I turn to the White Dragon and nod at him.
Are you sure?
Yes. It is grandmother's wish. And I will respect it. As the white light envelops Grandma, she smiles at me brightly. This is how I will remember her. Her smiling face as she's finally gotten her peace. Liu catches Grandma's limp body when she starts falling. She's no longer breathing. My friend lays Grandma's body on the ground, and we all gather around her. We can't stop the tears. Eventually, the dragon tells us to move to the side of the cave.
She was a blazing inferno in her life, and so, it's only right that we burn her body.
Aw, good Percival.
I agreed to that. And the dragon blows a breath of red-hot flame at Grandma's remains. She burns bright, and soon only ashes remain. I gather them. We say goodbye to the dragon. Outside, I scatter the ashes. In life, Levina the Dragon Slayer went where she wanted, and so in death, she shall be as free as she was in life.
Freedom. Alright. That was the freedom end. My goodness. Alright, well let's load. 'Cause I'm curious what the other ending is.
I can't do this. No. Just no, I can't. Grandma, I'm not ready for you to die. I'm so sorry. I know this is selfish, but please, give me another year. I will spend it with you. And at the end of it,
You won't be any readier for my death, as you are today. But I understand, my child. You are young, and you're not ready to grow up yet. So, I cannot leave you like this. You aren't an adult yet. You won't be able to move on from my death, should I pass today.
Grandma sighs heavily. I feel the weight of the sacrifice she's making for me now. She never intended to live another year. I can only hope she won't resent me for preventing her from dying.
Dragon, heal me.
As you wish.
Percival makes the white aura appear around Grandma again. When it disappears, she looks younger, less tired, healthier. I run up to Grandma and hug her tightly. She hugs me back, and Celine and Liu join us.
I won't ask for anything in exchange for the healing.
Thank you.
Poor Ulric.
We managed to achieve our goal. My grandmother's last adventure ended almost the way I wanted. I will spend the next few months at her side. Hopefully, there will be more adventures to come. And when she passes on, then I will be ready.
Another year. Interesting. Huh. Hey, we got some gallery artworks. Look at that. Wow, man. There were some interesting ways Liu could have turned out looking. Fabulous in all of them. There's our boy. Rogue look. Scarf instead of a cape. Fantasy weapons. And there's Percival. Grandma. I'm glad the decision was to go with like a fire look for her because it looks wonderful. It suits her fiery personality too. And Celine. So tough. Oh, well, that certainly was a moving story. I think I definitely preferred the ending where you respect her final wish. She seemed so sad, you know, but the sacrifice she made for her grandson is very moving too. Oh my goodness. It was a sad end, but I loved this visual novel. This was wonderful. The characters were really great, and I loved the world, and the banter between everybody was just wonderful. Thank you very much for making this game. I had a great time with it. I hope you guys enjoyed this as well. If you'd like to check this out for yourself, maybe you'd like to kill Dominic for what he did to our dear grandma. Then I will leave a link to it on itch.io down below. But otherwise, that is it for me, guys. Thank you again for joining me, and until next time, I will see you later.